Okay, let's go to the coding part. Where is the coding? This is the coding. Right. Yes, all of you can see this thing. Now let's what we have done. Let's write it in a code, and let us understand how this code works. All these codes are already there as an attachment as well, right? You have seen that. You can download the code, you can play that code as well. Okay. And please don't tell me that still you're if you haven't installed Python and Visual Studio Code. I mean, that would be really a disaster after 2 weeks if you haven't installed that thing. Okay. That means you don't have any interest on the codes, and that means you're not valuing the investment that you have done. Okay. So I hope you have already, all of you have already installed your Python and Visual Studio Code. Now let's start with the first program, which is called type and find program.py. So remember, in Python, actually what we do, we use .py file, right, as an extension to save that file so that it can be run by the Python interpreter. First one, you know what is this? Remember, hash. Why do we use hash? For comments, right? So that means the first line of the code is actually a comment for us. Example 1, type find. Guys, I can hear you at the back, guys. Please, again, my kind request, please don't talk when I'm talking, please, because it really creates a lot of noise, so I lose the momentum. Okay. So the first thing is that it is actually hash, and hash means that it actually allows us to create a comment, and this is actually the first line is actually comment. So the Python will not execute that particular line. Rather, it will take as a comment for you. I have defined a variable called a equals to 5. That's the first variable. Then I said print a is type A. So as you see, when I'm saying print, it will actually ask the Python interpreter to start printing where? To the monitor. The first thing that will print is A. Because A is not in inverted comma, that means it is going to print the value of A. Yes or no? Because A is not in inverted comma. So what it will do, it will print the value of A, which is called 5. Then after that, this is in the inverted comma, which is is type of. So it will print that is type of over here. Clear? And that is saying type A, which is called integer. Class means it's actually class integer type. So I'm saying this particular 5 is actually belongs to class integer. Okay. Similarly, b equals to 2.5, which is actually another data, which is a floating data. I am saying print, so I'm going to print that thing. Print b, which is 2.5. I'm going to print 2.5 because b is not in the inverted comma. Is type of type. What type of I'm looking for the parameter called b. So it is called class float. So I can say 2.5 is actually of class what? Float. So this type function is actually giving me the integer and class as well. Then I have created another comment, just a comment with hash sign. Then I'm saying set 1 equals to 5331. So this is set, so unordered sequence of data. Then I'm saying print set 1 equals to set. So this is a set 1. So I'm going to set 1. And when I'm saying set 1, that means it is going to print all the values of set 1. So it is printing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Clear, guys? So set 1 equals to 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. And then I'm saying print type set 1. So this type set 1, because it is not in the inverted comma, it will operate that operations, which is called class set. And then this is the termination of the code itself. So from here you understood that type is a very important function that gives you the type of the variable that you're playing with, and also you understood actually how to put comments. And remember that when I said comments, because comments are very important to make your code simpler. So when you're writing 100 lines of code, as a good programmer, it is actually your responsibility to put comments between the code so that if someone comes and read your comment, they can understand what that code is about. Some people think that it is smart that to write a very complex code. It is not. The skill and the smartness comes when you write a code which is neat, clean and easy to understand for anyone to pick it up. That is actually a good programmer is. Okay, so when you write a code, don't make it very complex so that people don't understand. Rather, make it simpler, easy, neat, and clean with a lot of comments and also enough explanation of the code that will make people to understand about the code itself. Let's continue. We also find this list index program as well, which we have done in the last week. So I've defined a set as A equals to 5, 10, 15, 20. That's a good thing. Then I have said print A2 equals to A2. That means I'm printing 0, 1, 2, right? So I'm saying A2 equals to 15. Clear, guys? This is clear, right? A2 equals to 15. Then I'm saying print A0 to 3 equals to A0 to 3. So A0 to 3 is actually this one in the inverted comma. And 0 to 3 means 0, 1, and 2, which is 5, 10, and 15. Clear? That's it. So this is the same thing that you have done in the last week as well, just about a bit of revision as well. Let's continue further. Oh, we need to go to the, again to the PowerPoint now. Let's look in the PowerPoint. So I just showed you a bit of set, bit of print, bit of type function as well, and all those things. Now, you also know about this logical operator, right? I was talking about this if, then, and else condition, right? So last week, what I have done, I have said that if the price of the shirt is $10, then I will buy it, else I'll not buy. Now, if you see from my statement, I'm just working with one comparison. The price of the T-shirt is $10. Then I will buy it, otherwise I'll not buy. But in the real life scenario, it is a bit more complex. We as a complex human being, we make everything quite complex. We love to make things complicated. Yes or no? So what I will do, I will say now, no, if the price of the T-shirt is $10 and the color of the T-shirt is blue, then I will buy it. So that means I am adding up two conditions together. Using what? And. Yes or no? So this is called logical operators and compound Boolean functions, where you add multiple conditions together using either and, or, XOR, NOR, this type of things. But for this one, we are using either AND function or function. These are two functions that you can use. With the AND function, if both the condition is true, then it will be true. Otherwise, everything will be false. If both the condition is true only, then your output is true. Otherwise, it will be a false. Is that clear? Do you know that, right? In the AND condition, if both the condition is true, if the price of the T-shirt is $10 and the the color of the T-shirt is blue, if both the condition is true, then I will buy the T-shirt. Clear? So that is called AND. So in the AND case, the output is only true if both the condition is true. Okay? Otherwise, it will be false. Otherwise, it will be false. So if I say if the price of the T-shirt is $10 and the color of the T-shirt is blue, and if suppose the color of the T-shirt is not blue, it is red, then it will not work. So it will be a false statement. Similarly, we also have OR. Rather restricting myself with two and, no, I want the color as well as the price. Rather, I'm saying maybe the color or the price. If any one of them matches with my choice, I'll go for it. So that is why it is called in OR condition. Even if one of the statement is true, then the output is true. If the color of the T-shirt is $10, or the color of if the price of the T-shirt is $10 or the color of the T-shirt is blue, then I'll buy it. Either price or the color. Any one of them, if it matches my expectation, I'm going to buy that. And that is called OR function. So in the OR function, if any of the statement is true, then the output is true. Clear, guys? Understood? So the difference between and OR is in the AND statement, both the condition, whatever condition you give, color, price, brand, length, small, size, everything, whatever you combine together, if they're all common as an AND, all the condition need to be true to get the output as true. And in the OR cases, if any of the condition is true, then the output is true as well. And where I'm going to need that thing? You'll need that thing in a number of cases. When you'll be starting developing your software application from week 6 onwards, you'll be working with lot of different types of animations, gaming sort of things, where actually you need to use this type of logics to play with. So that is where actually it comes to more existence as well. But anyway, so you understood the AND and OR, yes or no? There's another one which is called not. This is not actually any sort of statement. It's actually called negation. You can convert true to false, false to true. True, not true means false. False, not false is true, right? So this is actually called true and false, A and not A. So these are the three Boolean expressions, compound Boolean expressions that you have learned, and I will show you how to use that theme as well in this class. Let's continue further. As I mentioned, A equals to true, B equals to false, A and B, it will be false, yes or no? Because both of them need to be true. A or B, it will be true. Not A will be false. I hope you understand that thing, right? A true, B false, A and B should be false, A or B should be true, and not A equals to convert true to false. Very simple thing. So this is exactly what I learned in the previous slide. Clear, guys? Understood? How about you guys? Understood? Good. Very good. Continue. Now, I gave you a touch of if and then, which I'll revise again in this class. But if and then actually allows us to compare and then give me either if it is true, then it will run under the if statement. If it otherwise, it will go to the else statement. That's right. But for example, if I ask you that I got a series line of code, so suppose I want to print my name Sami for 10 times. Okay. So do you think that should I write print Sami, print Sami, print Sami? In that way, should I write 10 lines of print code to print my name? No, right? This is not efficient coding. So that means when you want to execute a block of code or a block of instructions for multiple times, you use looping. What is called looping. A looping is actually what? It actually loops around your instruction for a number of times that you would like to. And one of the classic looping is actually called for loop. For loop is a very common loop. Those who have done a very basic programming as well, they know about this for loop, right? So we use a for loop actually to do a looping. Now you see what actually this for loop, how these for loops work. So when I'm saying, let me delete this thing. Okay. When I'm saying for I, this is the I, this is actually counter in range 1,7, then colon. Now each and every individual word over here makes sense. For is actually my function that will allow me to run the loop. Okay. I is my counter that will count the number of times it will run. Okay. Range is actually how many times it will run, and this is actually the defined range 1 to 7. So when I'm saying 1 to 7, that means how many times there are 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when I'm saying for I in range 1 to 7, that means I am setting up a loop with I as a counter that will count, and it will count from 1 till 6, right? 7 minus 1, 1 till 6. Then after that, anything that you put under that for loop will run for 7 times. So if I say print I, that means first of all, the value of I was what? 1. So it will print 1. Then the value of I is what? 2. It will print 2. Then 3, 4, 5, and 6. So just see how effective it is. You can print even a counter value by using a print command, right? So when I say print I, it is going to print all the values of I every time the loop runs. Initially, I will be 1, so it will print 1. Then I will be 2, it will be printing 2. Then I will be 3, it will print 3. Then 4, then 5, then 6. In that way, we print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for all the I values of print function. So this is a for loop function. Have you understood this one? For loop? Is that clear? Very easy to grasp. We'll practice all these things, but let us build the logic first. It is important to understand the logic. Let's continue further. We also talk about range, right? Like 1 to 7. I mean, it is not the form 1 to 7. You can take from anything. Like for example, 5 to 10. That means it will go to 5, 3, 9, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can say 0 to 10 with a step size of 3. So that means it will go from 0, then the second one 3, 6, 9. And once it crosses 10, it will terminate. You can go negative backward as well. Minus 10 to minus 100 with a step size of minus 30. So minus 10, minus 40, minus 70. And it will not go to 100 because that is the maximum it will touch. So it will be always less than the, you remember, 7 is the maximum. It will always go to 7 minus 1. So that's why you cannot take 100 over here. It will be always below 100, below minus 100. So this is actually range. So it is not that you have to start from 1 to 7 and increment by 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's not like that. You can also do a jump, right? You can go from 0 to 10 with a jump size of 3. You can go to 5 to 20 with a jump size of 2. And in that way, you can jump as well. Okay? And you can keep on continuing with jumping. Understand, guys? So this is a range that we can work on. Now let's go to the PDF code again. Let's go to the PDF code and we'll see what is there in the PDF code. Right. Okay, let's start with the if, then, and else that we have seen already. What I have done, again, this is a revision. Those who have missed the first class, please concentrate on this class. You'll understand what I am trying to mention over here. I have defined a variable called first and a second variable called second, right? So what I am doing, I am saying input, enter the first number. So what this input is, remember, input is the function that will print this string, which is called enter the first number, and then it will stop the cursor for user input. So input actually is a function. What it does two jobs. First of all, it prints the statement, and it also waits for the user to input the data. Yes or no? Okay. And we also know that once the data has been given, this data is always by default as a character, right? So that's what I have done. I have used integer to convert that character into an integer value. Clear? So that means this first one is a statement that asks the user to enter your first number, and then after that, that number converts into an integer, and then that number is stored into the variable called first. Yes? Similarly, same thing goes with the second as well. Input your second number, convert that number into an integer, and store that number into the second. Clear? Now, what my thing over here is that I need to find which one is maximum and which is minimum between these two numbers. So I'm using just a simple if function. What I am saying, if first is greater than second, then maximum is first and minimum is second. Yes or no? If first is greater than second, then maximum is first and minimum is second. Else, vice versa, maximum is second, minimum is first. Clear? So this statement, based on this statement, we change the value of maximum and minimum. If the first value is greater than the second value, we'll say the maximum of the first value. If it is not, then we'll say the maximum of the second value. After that, once this if statement finishes, then we go and print it. Print maximum value, minimum value. Let's do with this first one. Enter the first number. So I've given the first number 10. Enter the second number. I've given the second number 5. All of them are converted into integer, stored into first and second. Then I have checked between first and second. Yes, first is greater than second. So maximum is 10, minimum is 5. So if I see this print, maximum, which is maximum 10, minimum, which is minimum 5. Clear, guys? Clear? Yeah. This side? Yeah. Understood? This side? How about this side? Good? Very good. Yes, I want to hear this voice. So it is important that you should understand each and every concept of that one. So this is just using a simple if and else statement, we're getting it. Now let's make it a bit more complex and make it a bit more advanced. What is this? Print. What is this? New line, right? So it will take the cursor to the next line, right? It will take the cursor to the next line. So it will start working from it will start printing from the next line. I'm again saying first enter the first number, okay? Input it, convert that into integer, store that into first. Similarly, enter the second number, input it, convert that into integer, put it into second. Now what I am saying print maximum. Now this is called a Python function called max. Max is actually a Python function that is used to find the maximum of any numbers that you give in that particular function. So when I define a function, I define function like this way. A max, and then whatever number you give, separated by comma, it will find the maximum number from all the number that you have given from. Similarly, min is also another function in Python that also whatever number you give in the parenthesis will be compared and they'll give us a minimum value. So rather than using if and then, there is already a function called max that can find the maximum value of the number. There's also a function called min that finds the minimum value of the number, right? So that means we can use also functions to perform that operation. So when I'm saying max first comma second, now if my first number is 15, suppose over here I've said 15, so my first number is 15 and my second number is 20. So what is the max over here? 20. Similarly, mean, my first number is 15, second number is 20. What is the mean over here? 15. That's it. So max and min does the same thing as if and else statement, right? So I can use a function as well to find the maximum minimum of two numbers. Okay, guys? Good. Let's continue further. Now it will be bit harder, huh? So I need a concentration a little bit more. Okay, it will be a bit harder, but please concentrate as well. Anyway, this one. I'm using a for loop. I'm using a counter. A counter can be anything. Like I put I can put each pass. I can put counter. I can put count one. It is a variable. It's a variable name, right? So it can be anything. But whatever variable you put, the naming should make sense. What actually the name that means. So I'm saying a variable name, a counter name as each pass. Then I'm creating an in a range 4. So far I have learned from like range is 1 to 4, then 5 to 9. In that way, range put, right? You can also put range with one single number. So by default, it will start from 0 till 3. Okay. So when I say something called range 4, that means by default it will start from 0, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Then what it is doing? It is printing. It is alive. It is alive. So it is going to print that first sentence. It is alive. Then you can see there's another keyword that I've used, which is called end equals to space. What it will do? It will create a space after that, and it will not go to the next line. Again, it is alive. Press end equals to space. Again, it is alive. Space end equals to space. It is alive, and then program terminates. So how many times it runs? 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm running this particular, I'm printing this statement, it is alive. And then after every statement, I'm putting a space. So it is alive, then end equals to space. So this end actually tells us that after you print this line, after you print this particular statement, you should put a space over here. Okay. I mean, you can put a space, you can put an end equals to asterisk as well. You can put asterisk, whatever you want to put over there. This is a character, right? So it will put that particular space or character that you have given, and then it will go to the next print, next print, next print. In this way, it will run for 4 times, starting from 0 to 3. Clear, guys? Understood? Very good. Next one. Let's continue. Now it's getting bit more complicated, but it's easy. I mean, if you're with me, we can make it easy actually. I would like also to do something called printing series of 2n. 2n. So n can be 1. If n equals to 1, then what is the value? 2. N equals to 2, 4. N is 3, 6. N is 4, 8. So it is multiplying. 2, 4, 6, 8 in that way is going, right? Sorry, 2, 4, 8 in that way is going. Now, what I am doing over here is I want to print something like this, 2, 4, and 8. Okay? 2, 4, and 8. So it's doubling. 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. It will be always doubling the number. How should I do that? If I ask you that question, then how can I do that? How can I print a series of numbers that is doubled to the previous number? 2, then 4, then 8, then 16, 32. How will I do it? Simple. My number is 2. My exponent, so exponent is actually how many times I've done? Maximum 3 times, for example. And product is 1. Why I have done that thing, I'll show you slowly. So for each pass, so I'm creating for loop. Range exponent. Exponent is actually how much over here? 3. Yes or no? Exponent is what? How much? 3 over here. So that means my exponent is actually 3. So that means how many times it will run? 0, 1, 2. So my each pass will be 0, 1, and 2. Clear, guys? Up till this? So my each pass is 0, 1, and 2. My exponent is 3. Product is equals to product times number. Product multiplication number. So my product is how much initially? What is my product? 1. And what is my number initially? 2. So 2 times 1 is how much? 2. Clear? So with the first 0, with the first pass, which is 0, my product came as how much? 2. Clear? Then what I'm saying? Print product, then end equals to space. So my first product has been already printed. 2. And then I'm giving a space. Clear? Clear, guys, up till this? Now let's go to the next pass, which is 1. Now, initially it was 0, now it will be 1. Again, it went to each pass. Product equals to product times number. So what is my product now? This is my product. Not 1 anymore. Yes or no? This is 2, right? So product is 2, and my number is always constant 2. So 2 times 2 is how much? 4. So it is coming 4 over here. So I'm saying print product, which is 4, and then end equals to space as space. So it is 2, then space 4, then we didn't finish yet. We have a last one, which is called this one, which is each pass 3. So it will be now 2. So when it goes with 2 again, so then the last loop, again, product is product times number. So what is my product now? 4. And my number is 2. 4 times 2 is 8. So this is 8. So I'm printing that 8. So 2, 4, and 8. Clear? So this is actually how I'm just multiplying the numbers and doubling it up. 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. So in order to solve this type of thing, if I ask you in a final exam, okay, what I can do, I can give you this type of table, for example, and you just show me in the table what is the value of product, what is the value of number, what is the value of each pass, what is the value of I. Each variable, you can do it easily if you know how to use this table. This is called a form of debugging. When you debug a program, you look into each and every individual variable value and see how it changes for after every operation. If you can understand this table, this type of things is very easy for us to pick up. Yes or no? Clear? Any confusion, guys? Guys, this side clear? This one? How about this, guys? Good. So is it clear to all of you? Clear, right? Guys, if you're not clear, then it's a bad thing, okay? But very simple concept, but be very clear, because programming is not about writing code, it is also about the logic that you want to develop. Okay? Good. If it is clear, that's fine. Let me see my online students. Where is the online students? Online students, is it clear? Is it clear? Yes. Okay, very good. So very simple, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. So if you know the variable value, you can easily track them. Let's continue further. Guys, I haven't given break. Just hold on. Couple of more things to finish, please. Now, another one. I'm just making it a bit more complex so that you can understand. Although it takes off a lot of my time and energy and pressure to make you understand each and every line of code, but I'm doing it for your betterment. But if you speak, then I had to raise your voice over your spear, and that is hard actually for me. If all of you speak together, it's very hard for me to get to the end of my voice cannot reach to the end of the audience. Okay, this one. What I am doing, I am saying that I want to add numbers in a range defined. So I want to add all the numbers in a range that I have defined. For example, I am saying, this print actually print. So it is going to print addition of numbers in a range defined. That is simple. Just give me a second. Okay, that is simple. Now let's start with this one. Initially, I've defined a variable lower. Input, enter the lower bound. So it will enter the lower bound and then wait for the value. So that person has given 2, for example. Okay, then that 2 has been converted into integer. So lower is now how much? 2. Yes? So lower is actually an integer data type that contains value of 2. Upper. Input, enter the upper bound. So again, the upper bound is given. Okay, then it's converted to integer, and then it has been said, so it is 5. So 2 is the lower bound, 5 is the upper bound. So I want to add all the number like this way: 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. This is my main operation. I want to add all the number between lower bound to an upper bound. That is my main problem over here. Okay. Now I'm saying, so initially my sum will be 0, right? There's no sum, so I put sum equals 0. Now I started my for loop operation. It will do the for loop. For counting, so this is my counting. In range, lower to upper plus 1. You tell me why I have put upper plus 1. Anyone? Why I put upper plus 1? So that, yes, so if I don't put upper plus 1, it will go up till 4, right? Because I put upper plus 1, which is actually 6, that means it will go up till 5. And my expectation, my work is to add from 2 to 5. So this means this is 2 and this is 6. So it will go from 2 to 5. That's good. So this is my count. The first count is 2. Clear? Then the second one is 3. Then third one is 4. And the fourth one is 5. Right? So it started with the first one as 2. So what is the value of count now? 2. I am saying sum equals to sum plus count. So initially my sum was 0. Sum plus count will be now 2. Clear? Next time, the count will be now what? 3. So this is a count 3. Sum equals to sum plus count. My count is sum was 2. My count is 3. It will be 5. Right? Then my count will be 4. So sum equals to sum plus count. My sum was 5. My count is 4. 5 plus 4 is 9. Then the last one is my count is 5. So this count is 5. Sum was 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. Just see how effective it is, right? How I'm adding up all the numbers. Programming is about logic. Okay, the more you make your brain work without watching too much Netflix and think about coding and coding, the brain will work sharper and sharper. Okay, so concentrate on the logical thinking and then implement that thing with your coding. Okay, and don't look for solutions in the internet, in the chat GPT, because at the end you will not learn anything. Rather, chat GPT will learn everything from you. Okay, so better you practice yourself, learn as much as you can, and then after that you can continue further. But have you understood this bit? Clear, guys? Understood? All of you? Good. Very good. Then another one. Over here, what I'm saying that rather adding up all the numbers, why not you add up all the even numbers from 2 to 11? That means 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10, right? So what I have done, simple. Initially my sum was 0. I have run a loop, range from 2 to 11, and it will be jumping from every 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Sum equals to sum plus count. So 0 plus 2, then plus 4, then plus 6, then plus 8, then plus 10, and the answer will be something print sum, which is 30. Simple. So I've just taken that value and added up with but my sum has been, my count has been jumped by every 2 step size to get all the even number. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. In that way, it has gone, and it has gone for the even number. Okay, let's continue. Now let's go to the PPT. Let's go to the PPT again. There is a number guess problem, which I'll show you in the slide. For example, I really want to play a game where actually I ask my user to input a number, okay? And I will check that the number that I have given matches. So I have a hidden number. So I have a number, and I ask the user to input the number. As long as that his number is not matching my number, I'll keep on asking him. But the way actually I'll say, yeah, the number that you have given is less than my number. Can you make it higher? Next time he'll go higher. More higher, then come less, more higher. In that we will try to bring that number close to my number. So this is called number guessing problem, right? So suppose I got a number called, suppose 10, and my user has given me a number 15. So what you'll do? You'll ask him to lower down, right? Now he jumped to 8. Now you'll ask him to go up. He jumped to 11. Then you ask him to go down again. So he come back to 9. Then you ask him to go up again. So definitely you understand it's 10, so it will come 10. So this is a number guessing problem where actually I ask my user to give a series of input, and each and every input will be checked with my number, and based on that I'll take the decision whether should he go up or should he come down. This type of things I'll show you in the PDF code. That's the easy one. Let's continue further. While statement, I also show you in the PDF code how the while statement looks like. And random number is a random function. Okay, this is the last thing. Then I'll go to the PDF code, and then pretty much we'll be done with our lecture. Then we'll go to the tutorial session as well. So far, what we have done, we have created a series of number 0, 2, 4, 6, 1, 3, 5. But these are all numbers that has been given by me, by the user. But there is also another thing in Python where you can generate a random number. So there is a function called random int, that allows you to generate random numbers by the system itself. When you really play with the random numbers, which is not an user input, that means it is completely random, you can play with those numbers using this type of function called randint. And we need that type of random number as well. Okay. When you're going to develop a game where you have an opponent can take any sort of actions, any sort of random action that they can do, how you generate that thing? By using some random generators as well. Okay. So this is random number is actually how you generate a random number. It can be any number, and with that you can use randint as a function that generates a integer random number, which I will show you in the next slide. And the last one is called Fibonacci. That is also I'll show you in the code as well. So let's go to the coding part, and then let's finish up of all the things that we have done, and then we'll go for the tutorial session. Look, so I already told you about the number guessing problem, right? So I'm going to solve the number guessing problem with a control statement called while. I learned about for loop, and I'm going to learn about the while loop. This is also another looping sort of thing. Initially, I learned about for loop that runs for a number of operations using the same counter. Now I'm going to see about the while loop, how it works. Guys, concentrate on this one. I put a number which is so hidden. Number is 23. So my user doesn't know what the number is. Then I'm saying running equals to true. When I'm saying running equals to true means it is actually a variable. It is actually a variable. That variable is actually true for the time being. When I'm saying while running, that means while true. Keeping in mind, a while loop runs on only on true condition, same as if loop, if statement. With the if, it also runs on the true statement or the false. While loop runs only on a true condition. As long as the condition is true, which is running, which is true, this loop will keep on continuing. Once this loop will be false, then the whole loop will terminate. So that means this particular loop is like that. This is called sort of loop, and this loop works on a condition. As long as the condition is true, it will keep on. So there's no finite number of loop that you have to do. Like for example, for loop, you know exactly how many times you want to run. For 1 to 100, for 1 to 200, right? But with the while loop, it is not like that because there is no counter over here. Is there any counter in the while loop? No. So in this while loop, what we do? We work on a condition. As long as the condition in the while loop is true, it will keep on running. When the condition gets false, then the loop terminates. Think about it. If I wanted to implement this problem with a for loop, this problem could not have been solved because a person can guess 10 times to get the right number. A person can get 100 times to get the number. A person can guess in the first time itself. So you don't know exactly when the person will guess the right number, right? So you cannot use a loop for 10, 15, 100 times. Rather, what you can do, you can create a condition as long as when the person gets the number correct, will break the loop. So that means the condition is based on the person's guessing. Yes or no? Clear, guys? Understood? Up till this, the difference between while and for loop. With the for loop, we create a finite numbers of operations, right? Finite number of operations. It will go for 10 times, 15 times, 100 times. But with the while loop, there is no finite number. As long as the condition in the while loop is true, it will keep on going. Once the condition gets false, then it will terminate. Okay? Let's see how it works. Okay. So my number is 23. Initially, I have said a number is 23. Then I am saying running equals to true. That means I have defined a variable. This is called a Boolean type variable, right? True or false is Boolean. True or false is a Boolean type. If you remember in the last class, I've shown you what is a Boolean variable. It's a Boolean type variable. So it's a true. While true, that means it is running. Guess equals to enter integer. Input, convert that thing into integer. So that means I'm guessing the number. So my first number is 10. Okay. Now I'm saying if guess equals to number, that means if the number that you have guessed is same as the number that I put, then what you do? Print, congratulations, you guessed it. You print it. And once you have done it, that means what? You have to break the loop because you don't do it. So what I do, I say running equals to false. That means it will break the loop. Clear, guys? Very good. Else if that is not the case, if the guess is less than number, so the number that I have guessed is the number is the less than the number that you have put, then I will say no, it is higher than that. Else I will say no, it is little bit lower than that. So either higher or lower or equal. There are three conditions. If it is equal, we put running false, we terminate the while loop. If not, it will keep on going to look for higher or a lower number. And then once that is done, it will say print done. As you can see over here, I put 10, no, it is higher than that. I put 15, no, it is higher than that. I put 20, no, it is higher than that. I put 25, no, it is lower than that. Then I put 23. Once I put 23, congratulations, you guessed it. And then after that, I'm saying running equals to false, and this will terminate the whole break. And then the final statement of this code will be done. And that is all. How easy it is if you understand the code. Clear? Clear, sir? Yes, sir. Good. Very good. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. How about you guys? Clear? Yes. Very nice. I want something, some voice like that. It gives me a big kick, you know? That should be the way. Fantastic. So if you can understand these type of problems, believe me, if you are with me for the first 6 weeks, if you are with me for the first 6 weeks, if you understand my lecture for the first 6 weeks, the last 6 weeks will be super flying. I mean, you'll be developing your own gaming applications. You'll be developing your own inventory management system. You'll be developing your own horse racing games. You'll be developing your own graphics as well. We can do a lot of things. But for that you need to listen. You don't talk, right? You need to listen. Right. For that you need to listen, you don't talk. So if you are with me for the first 6 weeks, we can finish up all these things. Let's go. I'll give you break, guys. I'll give you, but I'll not say that this is the right time break. Once I go, then I'll give you the break. Let's continue for another 5 minutes. That's it. 5 minutes and we're done. Okay, this is the one. Over here, what I'm doing, I'm just asking to ask the user to add number. Add number. And once the user is done with the number, if he presses enter, then the program will terminate and it will give me the total addition of all the number. So initially the user, suppose user put 10.0. So these are floating number because all the time I've been working with integer number. So let's work with the floating number. 10.0, then 20.0, 30.0, 40.0, and then after I said, okay, enough. I said enter. That means it will add up 40 plus 30, then 20, then 10, which is 100, right? So this is actually what the problem is. So how you have done it? Initially, I put sum equals to 0. Then I am saying data, input, enter a number or just enter to quit. Either you input a number or you just press an enter to quit. While the data, as long as the data is not equal to, this is what? This is not equal to, right? This is not equal to. As long as it is not equal to just double inverted comma, there is no space. You know that enter, right? In the enter, it is just double inverted comma like this. As long as the because you know that whenever we put a number, whenever we put an input into the keyboard, this is actually a character, right? This is a character, right? So look, I haven't converted that character into an integer, have I? No. I have just kept this thing as a character so that I can check that character with this particular operation. As long as my data is not equal to enter character, you keep on getting the number. And once it is enter, then you'll terminate. So initially, he put suppose 10.0. So yes, it is not actually entered. So now what I'll do, I'll convert that data into a floating value because it was actually character, right? 10.0 was what actually initially it was character. I haven't converted that thing into a float. Now I have converted that thing into a float, which is called float. So number is 10 now. Sum equals to sum plus number. So initially my sum was 0. 0 plus number is 10.0. Okay. Then I have said data, input, enter a number, or again I'm asking the user to give me another input again. So this is the next input. Again, the cursor is waiting over here for the next input. So I've given another number called 20.0. So this will go to the while loop. So this is actually loop, right? So this is going to the while loop again. It will check the data that you've entered. Is it an enter or a number? No, it is 20.0. It is not actually an enter. Again, that will be converted into a number, into a floating value, and it will be added with that previous sum. Similarly, with the previous sum. In this way, every time it gets a number, it checks a number with the character enter. As long as it is not the enter character, it will convert that number into a float, and that number will be added to the sum. Yes or no? This much. Okay. Then finally, I'm done. I don't want to add any more number. So I pressed enter now. So once I press enter, so this is actually now it is not equal to, it is actually equal to enter. So that means this particular while loop will be false. And once the while loop is false, it will come out from this whole while loop. And then it will end up with this particular statement, which is outside the while loop. The sum is sum. So the sum is 35 over here. So this is actually our addition of number. So in this particular operation, what we have done, we have taken character, we check that character with a special character like enter. As long as it is not an enter, we convert that number into a data type, either integer or float, and then we add that number to a sum, and we keep on adding that number until and unless the user has given enter. Once the user given enter, then the while loop terminates, and then we got the whole addition of 35 from that sum, and the print is sum. Clear, guys? Yes. Understood? Yes. Very good. Very good. The last one. Okay. So that is one way. This is another way. This is another way. I mean, we can write a code in a number of different ways. Over here, I have used true and break statement. Last time at the beginning, I used running as true and false. Then I said not equal to. Then I'm saying true and break. This is another way. What I'm saying, sum equals to 0.0, and I'm just putting a hard-coded program while true. That means it is always true. Because you cannot change this true to false. Is there any way you can change true to false? No. Because this is not a variable. This is actually a keyword, special keyword. You cannot change true as false. You cannot do that. So that means this is always a finite, infinite true. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. This is also infinite true, universal true. This is also true. Until and unless you by force kill it or by force break it. Until and unless if you don't break it, it will always take that thing as a true statement. Okay. While true, data equals to enter a number or just enter to quit. If the data is actually an enter, if data is equal to enter, then it will say break. So this break will break the whole loop. And that is the relation between true and break. If you put a true statement after while, then you have to keep a break statement in the while statement. Otherwise, it will go to an infinite loop. It will keep on running and your computer will never stop. So you have to restart your machine to stop that thing. Otherwise, you have to close your compiler and then you have to restart that thing. So keeping in mind, when I'm saying true, that means it is an infinite true. So that means there should be a statement in the while block that will break that true statement. And that's why it is called break. So if I say, when I input the number, when I get the input as a number into the data, If data is equal to space, then it will break. Otherwise, it will convert the data into a number, and then it will sum that number with the initial sum, which was 0, and then it will keep on going. So sum equals to 0 plus 5 plus 10 plus 30 plus 50 plus 100 in that way. And once it press and enter, the whole thing will break, and it will print the sum, which is the sum is suppose 100, right? So same problem that I have done over here in one way, and this is another way I have done the same problem. Both the problem can be solved in different ways. So this is actually the beauty of programming as well. One same problem can be solved in multiple ways in multiple code as well. Okay, I use true break statement. You can use running and true and false statement, or you can use a special character to check, and then you break the loop as well. But keeping in mind, while loop is actually a loop where you need to have some sort of statement that makes a while loop false. Otherwise, it will go to an infinite true statement, right? It will never be false. So you should find a way whenever I say, okay, this is running true, true, true. Then after that, once the condition met, you need to make it false so that it can come out of the while loop. Clear, guys? Yes. Good. Same. This one. Again over here, just see. I'll keep it for you this time. While true, input a number. This is another sort of problem. So I convert the number into integer, and I am saying as long as the number is equal to, if number is greater than equal to 0 and number is less than equal to 0, then break. Else, not in the range. That means if I say 105, not in the range, because it should be the range between 0 to 100. So this problem is actually about this problem, a simple problem, where I'm going to ask a user to input a number. If the number is from 0 to 100, then I will say in the range, and I'll break. And if it is not between 0 to 100, I will say it is not in the range. Okay? Guess more and guess more, so that the number can come to my range. So when I'm saying that I ask the user to enter a number or just enter to quit, and then I'm saying that input that number and then convert the number into integer, store that number into a number. So suppose this is 105. This is called a compound if statement, right? The number should be greater than or equal to 0 and should be less than or equal to 100. Then only I will say, I will break it and I will print the number. If it is not between 0 to 100, I will always go not in range. So as long as my number is not between 0 to 100, as long as my number doesn't fit the condition between 0 to 100, I'll keep on asking the number. 105, not in the range. 120, not in the range. 50, yes, it will print the value 50, and then it will quit. So this is another problem of how to use an if with compound statement and check the number that you're guessing, and you go from there. Okay? Okay. I will start with this Fibonacci in the next week to give you some idea about that one. But let us finish with the last problem that we have over here. Keeping in mind all these Py files are there for you to practice as well. We'll keep on that one. This is called random number. So I would like to generate random numbers which are not given by user, which are not given by me. It is given by the computer. Okay. So what I'm saying, when I'm going to generate a random number, it's a library that I have to import first. Guys, listen to me. It's a library that I have to import. So this is called import command. Import, you'll find this import very, very frequently in your Python code. Okay, import Kinter, import WXPython, import NumPy, import pandas. So there are all different types of libraries that we use in Python to increase the functionality of the Python. So when I'm going to work with a random number, I need to import that library. So the word that you use called import is called the function that I use to import which library? Random library. So when I say random, that means the Python will understand that there's a library already attached to this program, which is called random. Any functions defined under the library can be used now. Okay. Then what I'm doing, I'm just generating a for loop rolling in range 10. So it will go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 till 9. And then every time I'm saying print random dot random integer. This is the last thing, guys. Last thing for you to digest. That's it. Last thing. Okay. Random dot random integer 1, 6. Last thing, guys, please. Clear? This is very important. This is very important, okay? Because you'll came to know these things after in the future classes as well. This is called a method, and this is called an so what actually do? This is actually random is actually called the library that are you using, and this is called the function of that particular library, which is called random integer. So when I'm saying that I'm going to use a function of that library, first of all, I have to name the library, which is what is called, what is the name of the library? Random dot, what is the function that I'm going to use from that library? Rand integer. So when I'm going to use any library, I'm going to import, the way it works is that you name the library first, dot, then the function of that library that you're going to use. Random has got a huge library: random integer, random float, randomness, random queue, random skew, random distribution. So there are thousands of functions that are there. I want to use random integer function. So how will I do it? I will call the library dot the function name, okay? And this function name actually is random integer. What it does, it generates a random number. So it needs a upper value and a lower value. That what number I should generate from between 1 to 6. So it takes all the number between 1 to 6. So it will take any random number between 1 to 6. And then every time it runs, it generates a 1 initially, then second time 6, 6, 6, 5, 2. So these are all random number, but these numbers only lies between 1 to 6. And after every pass, I'm giving you n equals to space. So it is giving me space 1, space 6, space 6, space 6, space 5. So this means I'm running this for loop for 10 times. I'm calling the function called random. In that library, I'm calling the library called random. In that library, I'm using the function called random int. So rand int. It's called random dot rand int. And then this function requires the upper bound and the lower bound of the number that should be generated, the randomness. So I'm saying 1 is my lower bound and 6 is my upper bound. So any number between 1 to 6 is random for me. So it will generate random number from there. You can change 1 to 6 to 1 to 100, for example, 1 to 200. So the randomness will go higher and higher. And then I am saying n equals to space. So it will give me space and keep on going for 10 times. Clear, guys? Yes. Understood here? Yes. How about you guys? Yes. How about you? Yes, sir. Very good. Fantastic. I need some voice like this, believe me. You'll get extra mark for me, believe me. I'll remember you. I love it. So you guys understood my concept, what I have said so far? Oh my Lord. Yeah, no. Okay. That's enough. That's enough. Just hold on. Fibonacci, I haven't used it. I will use the Fibonacci next week because I'm out of energy now. So I'll use the Fibonacci next week. But all the other things, have you understood? Okay, very good. Very good. Let me stop the recording.